Hi, I'm Gwen Foster. Today I want to talk about should you eat organic or not? And this is a big comment or question that a lot of people have. And a lot of people might say something like, well, it's not worth the extra money. How do I really know it's organic? I don't want to spend the extra money for organic. They're probably scamming and it's not organic. So my answer to that is I eat 90% of what I eat organic. And if I can get organic, I do. And if I can't, on some things you just can't really get organic. But if you can get organic, sometimes it costs a little bit more. Sometimes it costs a lot more. I would suggest that you shop around because I buy some organic things from Costco. And if I can get grass-fed hamburger meat at Costco that's organic, it's obviously a lot cheaper than Whole Foods. I buy grass-fed meat online from Butcher Box, U.S. Wellness Meats, and Porter meats, and I do that for several reasons. And I will say that if you buy them online and look for specials, you're gonna find grass-fed organic meat a lot cheaper than at the local grocery store generally. And I follow the blood type diet, so I don't really eat pork. So Porter meats, it's an online thing. You can get beef bacon, you can get beef breakfast sausage. You can get things that are beef based instead of pork, because if you go to the regular grocery store, a lot of times you can't get a breakfast sausage or something that's not pork. So there's lots of options out there. Sometimes you have to go online to find them. I also shop and buy some things from Thrive, which is another online store. And Thrive is good for staples, like my siete chips or my alternative tortillas, or what else do I buy there? Canned things, packaged things, gluten-free, let's say macaroni or gluten-free noodles, sauces, marinades. I find that they're generally cheaper than Sprouts, and Sprouts is generally cheaper than Whole Foods. I like Whole Foods, I'm not knocking them, but they can be very expensive if you haven't compared to other places. So some people just shop at Whole Foods out of convenience, but I find that I buy a lot of things online, and I also go to other stores like Costco and Sprouts and find things generally cheaper than Whole Foods, especially in meat. I also want to say that I do think it's important what we put in our bodies, because a lot of times when I work with clients, one of the biggest issues is toxicity, just general toxicity. If someone's drinking sodas, there's about 100 chemicals in sodas. If they're smoking cigarettes or chewing tobacco, there's another few hundred chemicals there. But there's also the chemicals in those things on the label that you don't know what they are. If a label said rice and milk enzymes and sugar, you know what that is. But when they start listing the chemical names, and that's in the food colorings and the additives, you should not eat those products. And that doesn't have to do really with organic or not. It's just that you should not put that in your body, because your body has a certain amount of load it can take with toxicity. And a lot of people's issues are because of toxicity, because they're literally poisoning themselves. And also this has to do with household products, things you put on your skin, things you put on your face, things you put on your body, like suntan lotion or sunscreen or any of those things. I haven't said this in a while, and I don't think I did a YouTube on this at all, but if you put a piece of garlic between your toes, and with about a minute, you'll taste the garlic. That is a sign that whatever you put on your body is in your body systemically. So if you're doing spray tans and you're doing all this stuff that is chemicals on the body, and you do them regularly, if you do something once or twice, it's not going to kill you. But long term, you're just adding to your toxic load. And these are putting stress on the body, especially the liver, the kidneys, the gut, the colon, the small intestines. And the skin is the largest elimination organ. So a lot of times, I'll do a separate video on skin issues, but the thing is with the skin, that whenever something's coming out of the skin, it's like the skin pooping. And it's pooping toxins or pooping whatever is in the body that it needs to get rid of. And the worst thing you can do is go suppress that. And like I said, I'll do a separate video on skin, but when the body is trying to get rid of toxins, you don't suppress them. So you don't want to put on a steroidal cream or something that's going to not allow those toxins to come out of the body, because it is usually a sign of the body trying to get rid of toxins instead of the other way around. Back to organic. You see, I can get on a tangent pretty easily. So on organic, if you can get organic, buy organic and look for deals. Go to your local farmer's market. Look at places online, and especially fresh fruits and vegetables. And if you don't get organic, it's super important to wash them, and you can use like a food grade peroxide solution, or even well, I don't recommend using a regular soap because that has chemicals in it too. But wash your produce, don't just eat it. And the bagged lettuces and all these packaged things, I would say it's best not to do that if you can, because those lettuces and things there's a chemical preservative put on them so that they'll last, between where they're made and shipped to the grocery store and then sit on the grocery store shelf for a week. There's actually things added to make that happen. So when possible, it's always best to buy, the whole cucumbers, the heads of lettuce, and everything whole, because everything that's put in a cellophane or plastic container has had some kind of chemical wash, and that's what makes it stay green longer. So I don't really recommend those. I mean, they're good for convenience sometimes, but they're not really what I would do all the time. And if you have a vegetable like a cucumber that you're going to peel, you're kind of taking off a lot of the stuff with the peel. So like oranges, naturally, you're discarding the exterior. But on apples, pears, peaches, plums, apricots, those are super important to wash. And I think that, organic places are investigated. It's not all the time, but they have to go through pretty rigid standards. I know if you go to the barcode on the produce, you can actually track it back to see if it's actually organic or not. But there is pretty rigid standards for organic produce. And I'll tell you what happens sometimes. And this isn't really the organic produce's fault, but if you have an organic farm, which are usually small or smaller, next to a commercial production farm, there's going to be some wash off with rain and stuff and planes dropping chemicals that is going to carry over to the organic crop. So it may be that they're not 100% organic, but no one can control that. It's unfortunate that an organic farm would be next to a commercially grown farm, but it's still not going to have the same level of chemicals, and they are monitored, they are tested. When I was younger, we had a farm near Austin, and it was a peanut farm. And peanuts and grapes are the two most pesticided of all things you can buy in the grocery store. So sometimes when people have like an allergy to peanut butter, it's actually not the peanut butter, it's the chemicals on peanuts, because rodents and possums and varmints and raccoons, everything in the world loves peanuts because they grow in the ground like a potato. And those rodents go after those peanuts. So to get them to stop, they're basically putting equivalent to rat poison on them to keep the bugs off. So when you're talking about peanut butter, almonds and other tree nuts are different, but peanuts are super important to get organic, because if your child eats a lot of peanut butter, they're getting a load of toxins all the time, and sometimes that's what I said the allergy is. And grapes, so grapes, raisins, wine is super important to buy organic, because grapes are also loved by birds and squirrels and everything under the sun. So you can imagine a vineyard, or where Welch's grape is made up in Michigan, and you have everything in the world wanting those grapes, every kind of animal. So they're heavily pesticided to keep the animals off, and they're sprayed very frequently. So, I think organic's super important for a lot of reasons. But if you've ever been around a farm like I have, and you know how much pesticides are used and how strong they are, I think you would take it more seriously and be more careful in eating those organic foods. And eating out, forget it. I mean, even in Houston, the size Houston is, there's probably less than 0.1% of restaurants that offer organic selections in a restaurant. So I eat out about once a week, and that's usually on the weekends. The rest of the time I have to buy and make my own food, which is no problem, because I want to know what I put in my body. I want to know what it's made of, the source of it, is it organic or not. And there's just so few places that I can go eat that don't use MSG and don't use, chemical stuff on their food. So anyway, I hope this helps if you're considering eating organic or not, or why you should eat organic. One other thing I want to say is, or two things, is that a lot of people get into juicing, and the celery juicing thing is a big deal right now. It's super important to get organic produce for juicing for the same reason. Here you are doing something really good for your body and wanting to juice, and then but you're trying to be cheap and not buy organic vegetables, let's say, and then so you're getting the chemicals with the produce. So even like celery, you have to wash and clean it if you're not going to buy organic, and it's kind of a hassle. It's easier to buy organic and juice the organic. The other thing is, don't forget about household chemicals. So whether it's what you're using it with your laundry or your cleaning supplies, the stuff you use on your pets, super important. I'm not going to get into pets too much right now, but there's a reason that there's a high incidence of diabetes and pancreatitis in dogs, and kidney issues and hind limb issues. This is not for the reasons people think. This is because of toxicity and the stuff that we're putting on our dogs and giving to our dogs every single day. All right, well, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.